President Trump has been at war with much of the media, tagging them as fake news and often with good reason. In 2017, we saw an unprecedented number of significant corrections from major media outlets, especially on stories attacking the president. But President Trump believes their tune will change dramatically starting next year. Yesterday, he told the New York Times, "Another reason that I'm going to win another 4 years is because newspapers, television, all forms of media will tank if I'm not there, because without me, their ratings are going down the tubes." And for good measure, he added, "Without me, the New York Times will indeed not be the failing New York Times, but the failed New York Times." That's a pretty bold prediction, but could he be right? Fox News contributor and radio host Tammy Bruce is with us. Also joining us is political commentator Ben Kissel. Thank you both for being here. Happy New Year.
Yeah, same to
Ben,
you.
let me start with you. I worry that this D.C. bubble, the establishment media, and particularly the hard left, they just don't understand Donald Trump. They don't get him. They don't want to get him. They don't want to understand him. They just want to throw as many barbs his way, and they kind of actually play into his hand. But do you think the liberals and the media actually understand Donald Trump?
Well, I think the liberals in the media understand Donald Trump just fine. There's a lot to correct when Donald Trump gives an interview. In the interview that you're referencing with the New York Times, for example, he misquoted or got something wrong 24 times. This whole notion that media is against Donald Trump, the television news is against Donald Trump, is a total misnomer. It's a complete and utter lie. He got $2 billion worth of free media from these news outlets when he was running in 2016. This is just another example of Donald Trump wanting to raise up his own celebrity as opposed to raise up lower income individuals in this country. He needs to focus on being the president, not being famous.
Tammy, I've never heard President Trump say, he's running to become famous. He was pretty much famous when he started running.
Yeah.
But do you think the liberals and the left, do they get and understand President Trump? I mean, why he became President Trump?
I don't think so. They don't even really understand themselves. Look, just because you're stalking someone doesn't mean you love them, right? You've got Trump derangement syndrome, and this is about a focus and an obsession on the president because he was something that was unpredictable, that they couldn't predict, and that they got wrong, and the end result they got wrong. So it remains fascinating. But what I love about that tweet and what the president does is that, look, he's got a very dry sense of humor, and he's trolling them. This is fascinating because it also highlights the shift between last year and this year. Last year, it was an attack. It was through the campaign, and that there was a mission to derail him as the legacy media, as a propaganda arm for the Democrats. But now look at what's happened. His ratings, his approval rating on Thursday was matching President Obama's at the same time in his first year, and you've got the media's approval rating pretty much at the level of where the cockroaches are. So when you think about who's won this fight, Jason, it is the president. He's survived this year. He's doing well. He's got major legislation going. We've got 7 more years to go, and he's having a good time, and he's telling them that he's not going anywhere.
He has the lowest approval ratings of any president after 1 year since polling. So that's a total lie, and you can't just let that
have always been accurate, haven't they been? I mean,
he's citing one
Trump
outsider poll. He cites one Rasmussen poll because it has the numbers that he particularly cares about.
Because the election was a bit of a poll, right?
This whole idea that Donald Trump is trolling the media is unnerving and disturbing, as it should be. We have North Korea. We have very significant situations happening globally. The last thing our president needs to do is act like that overweight person in his parents' basement, the same person that he said might have interacted with the Russians or interrupted the campaign in 2016.
Let's give Tammy a chance here. Yes, Tammy, go ahead.
I think what you've just heard proves my point. And what we've got is an individual who clearly is governing and doing a very good job, and every now and then he might put out a tweet, and there is this volume of an emotional reaction that is outsized. Everything they accuse the president of doing is the nature of the reaction to him, and it has worked to his benefit because the American people, when you see this, the American people realize that what he says about the media, what has finally been exposed about the media, is a level of unfairness, not just about being adversarial. We want an adversarial press, but now it's oppositional and it's deranged. And this is what the American people keeps them from being able to trust the media at this point.
The most emotional people are diehard Trump supporters. I see it on my Twitter feed on a regular basis. I assure you that it's not the snowflakes on the left causing
Twitter,
such
dear.
a kerfluffle.
My dear, not everything is
well,
exposed
tell your
on Twitter.
president that then, because everything seems to be Twitter for him. For example, tweeting about Vanity Fair, tweeting about Anna Wintour. How does that help someone get a job? How does that help a lower-income family reach the next bracket of success?
Excuse me. Again, we filibustering here. This also does not help the conversation. But because you see as everything as having come through Twitter or social media, that's a pretty good example of projection. The fact is, what everyone's missing and what liberals miss is the fact that governing is going on. The president is changing this country. He's changing the world. He's having a good time, and he's doing a good job of it. And I think that you can, people can laugh and people can filibuster, but he's doing
Ben, we're going to let you have the last word. Ben, you get the last word. Go ahead.
This isn't a John Hughes film. This isn't John Candy as president. I don't really care if my president's having a great time or not. He needs to govern, and he needs to help the people that he promised to help in this country. A lot of them voted for him, and a lot of them are wondering where is their reward for doing so.
Tammy, Ben, thank you very much. I guess the last comment I make on that is I would look at the numbers. Look at the end result. The economy's doing better. The stock market's up. Unemployment's doing better. And we're about to do a segment that I think will highlight that people across the entire political spectrum are
Wall Street doesn't reflect Main Street, but...
well, in large part it does at times, and we're going to have the next segment. Stay tuned for that. But you don't need a weatherman to tell you how cold it is across most of the country.